Hi, welcome to Unshackled with Tash. I hope everyone has had an amazing week and I hope you are still getting as much as you have been out of this podcast from day one. Again, so many thank yous and appreciation for people that follow, share, subscribe. Absolutely love that this message is getting out there. The last week's topic was my guest speaker with Emma Butler. And for those that haven't listened, definitely have a listen, because this topic that I decided to cover today will coincide with what Emma spoke about last week, and that is about an abusive relationship. And she also spoke about other stuff that's gone on in her life and has made her who she is today. So I'm not going to spoil that. Have a listen if you haven't already. What I decided to talk about today was the difference between red flags and green flags. And we see it all over social media. All they do is talk about narcissism, right? But what we need to understand is, what is it within our blueprint that attracts us to the narcissist, to the dismissive avoidant, to the avoidant, the manipulator, all of those things. What is it within our blueprint that keeps us there? And now the thing is, most people know what red flags are, right? But yet they ignore them. When we're in a relationship, we ignore them. And what I've decided to do, because this is a topic that I really want to get this message across, so I have kept the notes that I use within my program, and I'm going to refer back to them because I don't want to miss a thing, okay? And the reason that people still ignore the red flag is because your conscious mind isn't choosing your relationship, okay? It is your subconscious blueprint. And like I always say, and I know people don't like hearing this, we attract these people. We attract a narcissist. We attract a dismissive avoidant. We attract an avoidant because of our childhood wounds, because of our blueprint. And like I also always say, is you are not dating a human, you are dating a nervous system, which is why you ignore the red flags. And until you understand your programming, you'll continue calling it familiar. And you and I both know that spark, that, oh my God, they just get it. Oh, they're just amazing. Oh my God, it's love at first sight. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's your nervous system saying this is familiar, this is great, because it's chaotic, it's unpredictable, it's exciting, it's risk-taking, all of those things. And you'll continue calling that safe, even though you really don't know what safe is. You're going on your blueprint. So today I want to explain the difference, okay? So a red flag is actually, or basically simply a bad behavior, okay? And it's behavior that consistently violates, now I'm going to cover this whole list, your nervous system, your values, your standards, your boundaries, your emotional safety, okay? Now, think back to previous relationships where those areas have been, violated over and over and over again, okay? And a red flag is information. So if you ignore that information, this is where you find yourself in those cycles, okay? And the problem is, traumatized people often make mistake, like I was just saying, chemistry for compatibility, because chaos feels familiar, which I've spoken about in my blueprint in episode 2. Your nervous system doesn't seek healthy, it seeks familiar. So let's go back to the blueprint and the core needs, okay? Your core need, number one core need is safety, certainty, and comfort, okay? And if dysfunction was your childhood, which mine was, this is why I attracted a lot of it in my life, dysfunction feels like home. And we speak about that. Anything that was normal to you, even though it's dysfunction, even though you know it's not okay, even though you know it doesn't feel great, to you, it feels like home. Okay, this is why we ignore the red flags. So for example, and these are the things you need to look out for, guys, with red flags. Someone constantly criticizes you. Someone never apologizes. everything becomes your fault. You always feel anxious. You have to earn love. You feel like you're walking on eggshells. You keep second guessing yourself. Those aren't personality differences. They're information for you, okay? Your body knows when something's not right, but we ignore those signs, okay? And the reason we ignore these red flags is this is where your blueprint comes into it. If you grew up needing to people please, to overperform, rescue others, fix others, stay quiet, become invisible, and earn love, your brain develops survival strategies, okay? And those strategies become your identity. And I've spoken about this in blueprint and core needs, but this is now what happens in those blueprint, which is 0 to 7, and your core needs. As an adult, it presents itself as, presents itself as all those things I just mentioned: people pleasing, overperforming, rescue, fix, self-abandonment, staying quiet, become invisible. We don't choose our partners. We choose familiarity, okay? And your subconscious says, oh, I've survived this before, even though it nearly destroys you, but I can do it again. And now how many of you are sitting here going, oh yeah, that's me? It's not your fault, guys. It is your blueprint. It is your programming. It is your patterning. It is your conditioning. And until you know that, and until you understand your blueprint, you can't fix it, because you can't fix what you don't know. And I know I say that all the time, but it is so true, okay? And this is why some people stay with emotionally unavailable partners, or they're attracted to them, or they pull them in, okay? Emotionally unavailable partners is a classic red flag, but you don't see it at first, because they start with the, oh yeah, this is great, I love this, I want to be with somebody. And then the love bombing happens. The unavailable and dismissive avoidance are very similar to narcissists, but there are a few differences, okay? But the reason you're attracted to that unavailable partner is because of your childhood wounds. Abusive bosses, controlling coaches, toxic friends, manipulative family members. The blueprint says, I know how to survive this, not this is healthy. It doesn't say this is healthy. It says, oh, I know how to do this. This is, mate, I've got this. This is a walk in the park, because this is a cycle. I know how to do this. And when I talk about red flags, I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking friendships, workplaces, coaches, mentors, anybody that has a part in your life. Red flags are there with everybody and everything, not just your romantic and intimate partners, okay? And when I just said this, oh, I know how to survive this. This is your classic people staying in toxic relationships, because the dopamine hit becomes so addictive that the unfamiliar is scarier. And I know I've said this before, your familiar hell is safer than your unfamiliar heaven, okay? Because as humans, we need certainty. And if we don't have certainty, we automatically default back to the, I know how to handle this. I know this cycle is going to go for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the cycle is for your pattern. I know how to handle that. I know I've got to go through this, and then it's going to be like this. And then we're going to go high, and then we're going to go low. Then we're going to go high again. This is not healthy. This is a classic, unhealthy red flag, either trauma bond or just a toxic relationship, friendship, relationship, workplace, the culture, all of those things, okay? And the common red flags is they never take accountability. Someone who always blames everybody else for will eventually blame you, okay? These people that you meet, it's never their fault. They never did anything. And they'll spin the story to manipulate and have the narrative that they need for it to be serving them, okay? Healthy people own their behavior, okay? Healthy people can sit back and go, oh yeah, I probably could have done that better. Like I had a client call me last night for some advice because they actually wanted to know, can you help me unpack this? Because I'm not sure if I'm the toxic one here or what happened was I was being manipulated. Now that's an awareness. That's an awareness to sit back and go, oh wow, okay, yeah, wow. Was that me or was that a trigger? Was it this? Was it that? This isn't just oh, well, that's their fault, his fault, her fault, whatever. It was a, what could I have done better there? Right? And so another common red flag is they invalidate your feelings. I had this done to me so often, like so often. And being the wounded child that I was constantly looking for love in all the wrong places. I was constantly performing for love. I was constantly needing to know that I was safe and that I was loved and wanted, okay? The invalidation of your feelings are you're too sensitive, you're overreacting, you're imagining things. Oh, freaking hated that. I was always that empath that knew. I just had a knowing and I still have that skill. And eventually you stop trusting yourself because you start to go, oh, the gaslighting, the manipulating. I had it done to me by somebody 2 years ago and I had all the evidence in front of me to say, no, this is here. This is what happened. Oh, no. The story changed. And it wasn't about what they did. It was my reaction because I was pissed off because I knew they were lying and I knew that I had the evidence in front of me. And you can't argue with people like that. That is a massive red flag, okay? Everything is transactional with a red flag. Love only comes when you're useful. Approval must be earned. Yeah? Affection is conditional. Yeah. How many of you sitting here going, wow, that's me? Or, wow, I've been there. Why do I keep attracting these people? They isolate you. That's another red flag. Healthy relationships expand your world. They will still have their own life. They will have their own hobbies. They will encourage you to see family and friends. That's healthy. Toxic ones, shrink it. They keep you away from family. They keep you away from friends. They get you to change your workplace. You stop doing all your hobbies. That is toxic. That is a red flag. Okay? When we meet people, we have to be aware. We have to start looking at the first red flag that comes up. I'm not saying punt them off, but address it. Be aware, like, okay, this is another pattern. This is me. I've attracted this again. Okay? Their words and actions don't match. Listen less, observe more. Patterns tell the truth. And I say this all the time. Actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. You can say anything. It's what you do. Watch what people do. When people show you who they are, believe them. 9 times out of 10, they have shown you. But we sugarcoat it. We fall in love with potential. We think we can change them. We think, oh yeah, I've been down this road before. What did I do wrong last time? I'll do it different this time. You're not dating a person. You're dating a nervous system. Your nervous system and their nervous system are firing off together. Far out, I wish I knew this when I was younger. Totally wish I knew this. They love bomb, then withdraw. Okay? This creates the trauma bond. This is your red flags, guys. Your nervous system becomes addicted to chasing the next emotional high, which is your dopamine hit, which is what I said before. You constantly feel anxious around them. Your body knows, your nervous system notices danger before your mind does. Okay? Don't ignore your body, guys. Oh my God. With what I know now, oh my God, I abandoned myself so many times just to keep other people happy, just to be loved, just to be wanted, just to be, someone special. And I didn't love myself. So I allowed a lot of shitty behavior. And again, that's on me. I attracted them, okay? That is basically your red flags, guys. And there's enough to think about there, yeah? Like, really be radically honest with yourselves here and go, where have I done this and why do I keep doing this? Or, wow, I found myself in this again, okay? And the other thing with red flags is, and I see this so often in my line of work, is that when two people are trying to work together and one will make a promise to say, yeah, I'll do it. And then they don't. So one partner's trying to heal and do the work and grow. Then the other partner suddenly is like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. And then they get upset because the other partner is healing and growing and learning about themselves and owning their shit. The other partner can often get really cranky and get really annoyed because we've opened up a can of worms that they're not ready to face, okay? Now, most of these people with red flags come from a lot of childhood trauma. It can be emotional, mental, physical, sexual, any type of abuse. And again, people always think when I say childhood trauma, it's physical. Guys, it's not just physical. It is fundamental needs that were not met as a child, or fundamental needs that were overmet and made that child feel like they were the best thing in the world. They're on this pedestal. They are better than everyone. And they don't have to answer to anyone, and they're entitled. People don't understand that. And they don't realize that when they do that to a child and fix everything and don't need to regulate and they sort everything for them, they don't understand what they're doing to that child. They usually grow up narcissistic traits because they're entitled. They're amazing. They're special. They are the best thing since sliced bread. They don't have to answer to anyone. I'll fix that for you. I'll do everything. Don't you worry about that. We'll change this team. We'll do that. We'll do everything to keep you happy. So that child never, ever had to learn to suffer, learn to self-regulate, how to adapt to change. None of that. That's another one, guys. I could go on about this forever. This has been the biggest lesson for me. And I know it because I lived it. But your green flags, there's a positive here. Green flags are often overlooked because healthy feels boring to an unhealed nervous system. Guilty as charged. Anybody that was safe, I was like, oh no, there's nothing. Oh, there's no spark. There's nothing. That spark was trauma. That spark was, nervous system overload. That spark was dysfunction. But I saw it as, oh no, they're boring. Oh, they're no fun. How am I going to have fun with that? How am I going to have my highs and lows? I didn't know that, but that's what I was looking for. Green flag people or situations, they take accountability. They apologize without excuses. And this is where a lot of people don't know how to handle this, because if you've never been in a relationship where someone can sit down and have a healthy adult conversation without the fireworks, without the silent treatment, without the slamming doors or walking away or whatever your cycle was, a healthy conversation where two people can come together and learn something about each other and grow together and grow the love, or a work situation or a friendship. If you have friends who suddenly just wipe you because they heard something about you or they didn't like something that you apparently did, that's not a friendship. That's toxic. That's a friendship that had benefits. Because if that person really thought enough of you, they would pick up a phone and they'd say, hey, I heard this, or this happened. Do you want to give me your version of events? But no, This is where smear campaigns come in. That is red flag plus, plus, plus. Because it's not just involving the person that started. It's all the people that have decided that that person's the bad person. But here's the thing, and this is absolute research based. The person that is alone is usually the one that is the victim. Because the offender or the narcissist or the avoidant or whatever you want to label them as, they need to validate their story. They need people to believe the story that they've told, because a lot of what's happened is shame and guilt, and they can't see it. They can't look at themselves. So if they tell a story that serves them, makes them look like the good guy, and everybody goes, oh, that person's bad. Oh, that is really toxic. Like really toxic. And trust me, been there. It was one of the biggest lessons of my life. And you know what? I could have done something, and I decided not to, because I had done so much work to heal that type of behaviour that I just went, karma will do its thing. And eventually, do I really want people like that in my life? No. And it's sad, because there's a lot of loss with things like that. But that's where your smear campaigns come in, and it shows you who people are. When people show you who they are, believe them. The other beauty of a green flag is you feel emotionally safe. And now I did a post on this the other day. Emotional safety within a relationship is paramount, absolute paramount. You know, you don't have to perform. You don't have to pretend. You don't shrink yourself, or you don't have to earn love. Now, this is really sad, because a lot of people are in these relationships, and not everyone's a narcissist. Okay, I'm going to say that now. And no one's born a narcissist. So we all come in here with a clean slate. We all have narcissistic traits. It's whether we activate them and keep them going. And because I can tell you now, there's thousands of traits out there, and everybody's done one of each. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that it's there, and you've done it. You know, you've lied, you've said bad things, you've gossiped, you've stolen stuff, whatever. All those traits everybody has. But what happens is you either decide that no, I'm actually, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. That's not one of my values. So I'm not going to do it. And you own it, and you go, yeah, actually that wasn't very cool. Hey, that wasn't good of me to do that. Or, I'm going to have a conversation with somebody. You can try and have a conversation with somebody, but if somebody doesn't want to hear your side or completely negates, step away. But I'm going to say that, step away. Don't put any more time, effort, or energy into something where somebody doesn't want to hear your side or your version of events, okay? Because their mind's already been made up. The other thing with a green flag, and these are beautiful, they respect boundaries. No guilt, no judgment, no punishment, just respect, and no manipulation. And I spent a lot of my life in relationships where there was manipulation, even with good people, because there was a part of me that attracted that, okay? Again, I'm owning the parts I play, all right? The other thing they do is they communicate openly. Conflict doesn't become war. It becomes a healthy adult conversation. That is such a bonus in a relationship, okay? It becomes a conversation that you can either grow from, learn something about each other. This is, again, work, friendships, everything. If there's something about a friendship that you're like, yeah, you know what, something's just not okay, have the conversation. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, sometimes you've grown so much that that person hasn't evolved, so they're not meant to be on the next part of the journey with you, okay? But this is where we get ourselves, if we don't have the awareness and we don't start to have that conscious thinking, we'll go back to the subconscious blueprint and we'll start saying, oh, it's their fault, they've done this, oh, how dare they do that? Been there, done it, okay? Even now, I am so conscious and very, very particular about who's in my life, okay? I am very, very aware of where I want to put my time, effort, and energy. They are consistent. Green flags are consistent. They're not perfect. They're consistent, and their consistency builds trust. Okay? And intensity creates addiction. So know the difference. So when you're with a new partner, and it's a bit hard too sometimes, because if they're consistent, you could be, if you're going from your survival and your trauma-based blueprint, why are they ringing me all the time? Oh, they're trying to keep an eye on me. They're controlling me. They're trying to, but they're actually showing you, if they're a healthy, respectful person, that they're being consistent. They're showing up. They're not going to ghost you. I can tell you now, a lot of my clients tell me these horror stories on dating sites, and I just laugh. Been there, done it. Not for a long time, but dating sites, a lot of them, I'm not going to say all, because I do know some people that have got together from a dating site, are all low vibrational people, and they're all wounded, and they're all coming together to look for love in all the wrong places. And what they do is they don't clean up any of their previous relationships or baggage or issues or childhood trauma or anything like that, and they bring it into the relationship. And this is where I speak about two nervous systems coming together. You don't know what that person's got, but they don't want to deal with anything, so they just jump to the next relationship. Okay? That is a classic thing that happens on the dating sites. So they make your nervous system exhale. This is green flag still. This is one of my favorites. They pay attention to your body. Okay? Pay attention to your body. How you feel when you're with somebody. And if it feels, oh gosh, I feel so, I've never felt this comfortable. And it's not a, oh my God, it's lust and it's all this. It's like, wow, I actually feel safe. I feel safe in this space. Whereas other times you're anxious or you're a bit edgy or unsure, that's your red flag. If your nervous system's kicked in and it's telling your body, this isn't okay, listen to it. But if you can actually sit there and go, oh, I feel soft around this person, or I feel comfortable and I feel like I can really be present, that's a good thing, okay? But if you brace yourself and you're going, oh, no, this isn't, okay, get out. End the date. Remove yourself, because it's not good. Your body is telling you. And I say this all the time. Your body knows long before your mind catches up. Listen to your body, guys. We are our nervous system. Okay? We are our nervous system. Like that post I did the other day. It dictates everything. Your relationships, your income, your achievements, everything. Your friendships. It dictates everything. Heal your nervous system. Avoid getting yourself into these cycles all the time. And here's the twist, and this is what people aren't going to like. And I really wanted to get this point across. Sometimes you are the red flag. Not because you're a bad person, okay? And I'm going to list all of this. Because you're still operating from survival. Maybe you avoid conflict. Maybe you people please. Maybe you shut down. Maybe you become controlling. Maybe you rescue everyone. I was always looking for a project. These are trauma responses, not character flaws. Healing isn't about becoming perfect, guys. It's about becoming aware. It's an awareness that helps you create choices, okay? And choices create freedom. Now, I'm 100% owning the parts I played in toxic relationships and friendships. 100%. But the work I've done in the last 2 years, like I did a lot of work before this, but this was next level work. And to understand why I attracted so much toxicity in my world, I mean, I look back and I say this and I'll say it again. This stuff needs to be taught in schools. so that people know what their blueprint is and they can change it before they have long-term relationships, get married, have children, and bring these cycles into another generation. Like, seriously, if I'd have known this stuff 20, 30 years ago, oh my God. I know I'm here for a reason. I know I had to go through everything I've gone through to be here and be a cycle breaker. And I know that a lot of people mock that, but I don't care, because I actually see what I'm doing and I actually see the impact I'm having. So, it's amazing when you learn the parts you played and you can own it. And like I said, I have apologized to a lot of people that I feel deserved an apology. And in that, I also got some apologies back. So I believe that's really cathartic and therapeutic. But this is one of the reasons I created Unshackled, because I noticed how much damage this did to me and my family. And I realized teaching people about red flags wasn't just enough. Like, I wanted to go right down into the depths of your blueprint, your motivations, your brains, your core needs, and all of those things that I cover. Because you have to understand why you ignored these red flags, guys, and why we continue to ignore them. Even logically, you go, I'm never going to get myself into that again. Logically, you go, oh, no, that's not what they're doing. And then you make excuses. It's like, oh, they're having a bad day, or, oh, you know what, somebody that gets ghosted. Oh, they've been really busy. I'm sorry. It takes 2 seconds to make a friggin' text message. Because if they wanted to text you, they would. But often, especially with an avoidant and a dismissive avoidant, they want the relationship, they want the love, they want the intimacy. But because of their childhood wounds, and it's usually a mother wound, they are so afraid to be in that type of a relationship because there's so much vulnerability. And then the fear just kicks in. So rather than have a conversation with someone because they don't know any better, they do the runner, they become avoidant, they withdraw, they ghost. But then as soon as you pull away, they want you back because, oh my God, I've lost control. It's all about control. But it's not control of, I need to control you. It's control to feel safe. And I hope this is making sense, guys, because here's the other thing. So with the red flags, why they felt normal, why you stayed, why you repeated the pattern. I think I've just said all of that. Your relationships don't begin with who you meet. They begin with the blueprint you developed before the age of 7, which is what I've said. Go back from 0 to 7, nervous system to nervous system. Heal your blueprint and you'll stop chasing people who feel like home. And that is so, so true. Okay? So true. And when home was never safe to begin with, the greatest green flag isn't finding the right person. It's becoming someone who no longer accepts what once felt normal. And I say this to everybody. Become the person you would like to date. Become the friend that you would like to have. Be the person in a workplace that you would like to work with. So what you put out, you get back. But if you keep enabling these situations, friendships, relationships, workplaces, situationships, whatever it be, you keep enabling that behavior, it's never going to change. And like I always say, be careful what you tolerate. It shows people how to treat you. Okay? And I want to leave these questions with you. Where have I ignored my intuition? What behaviors have I mistaken for love? What patterns keep repeating in my life? And if you're ready to stop repeating the same cycles and finally understand the blueprint that are driving your choices and your decisions, that's exactly what we do inside Unshackled. And for all of those that know me, I have just released a online self-learning, self-paced Unshackled course. It's a 6-week course. You can come and go as you please. It's unlimited access. It is a foundation of all the pillars that I use. and I have used over the last 4 or 5 years to help hundreds of people heal help them heal the blueprint and the nervous system, and help them reprogram their neural pathways to a healthier, happier life, and rewrite the story, because the stories, the beliefs and the values and everything you've been handed were not yours. They were handed to you. Are you ready to rewrite the story? Are you ready to really sit back and acknowledge and own the parts you play in your decisions and choices in life? And when you meet somebody that feels boring, don't automatically say, oh no, that's not for me. Just say, wow, why do I feel so out of place here? Why do I feel out of sorts? Oh my God, this person wants to talk to me. This person wants to know how I am. This person isn't just here for 1 or 2 needs. They're genuinely invested. Don't run from that. Take your time. Understand where your wounds came from and why you would be hesitant in some things. As soon as you know your blueprint, you'll know where your wounds came from. So on that note, I hope that red and green flag has helped you understand a lot of the stuff that goes on and the cyclic behaviour. And as I always say, it's not your fault, 100% not your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal. And it's your responsibility to heal for your children and the future generations. Because if your children see you will see you with this behaviour, with these red flags constantly, which mine did, 100% owning this, they will think that's normal. And then they're healing from stuff that you didn't heal. So have a look at your patterns, your cycles, and have a look at your choices. And just remember, we can fix this. So on that note, guys, have a great week. For anybody that is new to my Unshackled podcast, welcome. Please follow, please subscribe, and jump onto the free webinar that I've got next week. Actually, no, that'll be this week. By the time this goes out, you'll have missed it, but I will be having another one soon. But I've also got the online course. So anybody that wants to jump into that, the link's in my Instagram bio, and it's also on Facebook, or if not, reach out to me. Have the most amazing week. Bye.